At its most thoughtful, art is a mirror, showing us some aspect of ourselves. While no reflection can completely capture what a thing is, it can provide an angle, a perspective. And for this reason, it's no accident that Charlie Brooker named his masterpiece Channel 4 series Black Mirror. It's a show that places us in versions of our near future, advanced and dystopian in a way that's earned the nickname Twilight Zone of the information age. After a long hiatus, new episodes are finally coming out this month on Netflix. So I want to take today to focus on how Black Mirror crafts its dystopias and the underlying themes that connect them. This video will completely spoil a couple of episodes, but Black Mirror is an anthology series where none of the episodes are connected, so you can dive right into the rest. Okay, I'm Jackson, and this is Ideas at Play. Although the dystopian genre has been around and steadily gaining steam since the 1890s, we've been overrun with dystopian films in the past 15 years. There's even been a spin-off genre aimed at young adults, and while I think there's a lot to love about all of those films, I'm not sure any of them offer as strong a commentary on our world today as Black Mirror.
You're a joke. You look less human than I do, and I'm a made-up bear with a turquoise cock.
He referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.
Each episode takes some aspect of our technology-driven modern society and shows us the dark side of that progress. Technology has always changed the way we interact with the world, but as it becomes more and more ubiquitous, it tears down the limitations we have as human beings. We become increasingly capable of satisfying our deepest desires, and while that may feel like evolution, it might not be. In essence, Black Mirror shows us the ugly truth about our future, that we're in it. But how does it do that so effectively? Well, first and foremost, Black Mirror focuses on the people in its stories rather than the worlds it creates. Yes, many of these worlds are interesting without any story at all. They delve into ideas of modern industrialism, how social media has become a force of nature, and even what it means to be a person. But on their own, those ideas are abstract. They're thought experiments. What makes the show powerful is that it focuses on how people live in those worlds. We feel the emotion of their situations, rather than just understanding how awful they are on paper. In the episode 15 Million Merits, we follow Bing, who lives in a world powered by stationary bikes and oversaturated with media. Everything costs money, even skipping commercials, and a reality show is the only way out. Instead of watching how this world works and how people are oppressed by the system, we see how it alienates Bing. He's not part of some revolutionary group trying to change the world. He's alone, trying to find meaning. We're rooted in his story and the way he feels as a proxy for how it might make us feel. We feel his pain when the system warps the one thing he ever felt was real, in a way that we can't when confronted with wholesale injustice. While he attacks the system, it's not for the greater good. It's personal, emotional.
Well, we ride day in, day out, going where? Powering what? All tiny cells and tiny screens, and bigger cells and bigger screens, and fuck you! Farewell forever. To the same time next week.
And that's what makes it so much more overwhelming when he ultimately gives in and becomes part of the machine he fought against. Black Mirror doubles down on the individual perspective in the way that it depicts Bing's crowd. His impassioned speech moves them, but his words fall on deaf ears.
That was, without a doubt, the most heartfelt thing I've seen on this stage since Hot Shot began!
They're stunned at how he acts, not by what he says. In the end, they're there for the spectacle. They'll watch whatever's put in front of them. And that's systematic in Black Mirror. While large groups only show up in about half the stories in the series, when they do, they're framed in opposition to a single character, mindless and acting as one united front. Groups never face off against each other, they face off against individuals and press their weight on the situation. As technology allows us to separate more and more, it becomes easier to get swept up in an idea that has taken hold because you're just one person against a crowd. If you're going to tell a modern story, you almost have to depict a large group like this. And that brings us to how Black Mirror constructs its worlds. They're not post-apocalyptic wastelands or based on prompts like splitting people up by personality.
It's a worried show. It's a show that's worried about today. Even though it's often set in kind of near futures or sort of allegorical futures, it's really always about now and what's going on now. Just everyday life has changed from just you walking around and experiencing the world to staring at a rectangle.
Black Mirror's title doesn't just refer to a dark perspective on our own reality. It directly references its source. Look around your world. There are Black Mirrors everywhere. your phone, your television, even the computer screen that you're probably watching this video on. It's not just a bleak outlook of the future, it's a bleak outlook on our future. And to be honest, its predictions have been pretty accurate. The episode National Anthem depicts the Prime Minister of the UK being forced into having sex with a pig on national television. At first, everyone supports his resistance.
I mean, just thinking about it is horrible.
That's disgusting. It is disgusting.
Every poll indicates public understanding.
But eventually they turn on him and sit glued to their TVs while he performs the act. And then, they just return to their lives. That episode first aired in 2011, and since then we've seen rapes recorded and passed around on social media, and leaked naked photos of celebrities pop up everywhere. Many of us watch the shootings of African Americans by the police, but ultimately do nothing. We watch the spectacle of someone else's life being destroyed, and get to walk away without ours changing at all. It's the collision of these two ideas, a prediction of a world based on our own, experienced through a single personal lens, that makes Black Mirror so effective. The result is the idea that people aren't twisted by technology, they're allowed to access their most twisted desires with technology. This collision is perhaps best displayed in the episode Be Right Back. Martha loses her husband and tries to fill the void by creating a virtual version of him through an accumulation of his social media presence, being told the more it has, the more it's him. She stops reaching out to her friends and family and instead tries to find comfort in the gentle glow of her substitute. Eventually, she constructs a body for him to live in, before realizing that what we volunteered to share with the world isn't a real representation of our innermost selves.
Yeah, well, you aren't you, are you?
That's another difficult one, to be honest with you.
You're just a few ripples of you. There's no history to you. You're just a performance of stuff that he performed without thinking, and it's not enough.
Come on. I aim to please.
Aim to jump, just do it.
The result is devastating. Martha is forced to live with an empty reminder of him in her attic, unable to either move on or return to the past. And that's the final aspect of Black Mirror's effective dystopias. Their endings use a twist to not only unsettle us as viewers, but like all great arguments, broaden the scope of the conversation. In 15 Million Merits, being surrendered to the system expands the conversation to show us how we know the system is broken, but are complicit anyway. We may graduate to a larger room, but the system still has us trapped. In National Anthem, we find out that the whole ordeal was just performance art.
One art critic has caused controversy by describing it as the first great artwork of the 21st century.
The Prime Minister's public humiliation was done just to do it. There wasn't a political motive or statement to be made beyond just pointing out that we're all willing to watch. It's a commentary that speaks directly to us as consumers of that kind of media, but also of Black Mirror itself. Its stories rarely, if ever, end well. They're train wrecks of our society that we can't look away from. They're unpleasant, but we keep watching. There's a kind of implicit acceptance that reaches through the screen to point at us directly. Every day, the advancement of our world is accelerating. What Black Mirror offers is a sobering perspective of that evolution. The questions it asks are harsh and unflinching, but I think they're important to ask ourselves. Yes, technology is changing the world, and often for the better, but can we change our nature to meet that changing world? Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. I've been really excited to make this one in particular because Black Mirror is one of my favorite shows ever. Each episode is dense and showcases extraordinary filmmaking and storytelling that drive home all the core concepts we've talked about and could demand an entire essay each. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments. Anyway, thanks again for watching.